The mystery of the twins with two fathers. Welcome to Timeless Life Lessons. Today we are diving into a story so unbelievable that it sounds like it was pulled straight from a Hollywood movie script. But as we often find, on this channel, truth is far more fascinating than fiction. Imagine for a moment a mother holding her newborn twins. They share the same birthday. They shared the same womb for 9 months. They look similar enough to be siblings. Yet, when the DNA results come back, the doctors tell her something that defies everything we thought we knew about birth. They tell her that these twins have two different fathers. This is not a myth, and it is not a mistake. It is a rare biological phenomenon that has left scientists and families stunned. Before we get into the incredible science and the specific story that shook the medical world in 2018, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us continue bringing these deep and life-changing lessons to light. Our story begins in the year 2018 in Colombia. A mother walked into the Genetics Institute at the National University of Colombia. She wasn't there for a routine checkup. She was there because she wanted to confirm the paternity of her twin boys. To her, they were just her sons, but she needed the official paperwork. The experts at the university took the samples. They followed the standard procedures that they had done thousands of times before. They used a technology called microsatellite markers. This is a fancy way of saying they look at tiny, specific parts of a person's DNA and compare them like pieces of a puzzle. The scientists take DNA from the mother, the children, and the alleged father. They look at about 15 to 22 specific points on the DNA strand. In a normal case, half of a child's DNA markers will match the mother, and the other half will match the father. It is a simple game of biological matching. But when the lab director, Professor William Usakin, looked at the results for these twins, he couldn't believe his eyes. He didn't just look at them once. He ordered the test to be done again. He thought there must have been a mistake in the lab. He thought maybe the samples were swapped or the chemicals were contaminated. I have been the laboratory director for 26 years, and this is the most unique case we have ever seen. Professor William Usakin. But the second test showed the exact same thing. The DNA of the man who came in for. The test matched one of the twins perfectly. He was, without a doubt, the biological father of the first boy. However, when they looked at the second boy, there was no match at all. The man was not the father of the second twin. This meant that the mother had conceived two different children by two different men at almost exactly the same time. In the world of science, this is known as heteropaternal superfecundation. It is a long and complicated name for a very simple but rare event. While the professors at the university knew that this was theoretically possible from their textbooks, most of them had never seen it in real life. In 26 years of leading the laboratory, Professor Usakin had never encountered a single case until that moment. It is so rare that in some studies involving tens of thousands of paternity tests, only 2 or 3 cases like this are ever found. To understand how this happens, we have to look at the unique way the female body works. Usually, a woman releases 1 egg during her cycle. If that egg is fertilized by a sperm cell, a pregnancy begins. In the case of normal twins, either 1 egg splits into 2 or 2 eggs are released and fertilized by the same man, but for different fathers. To be involved, a very specific chain of events must occur. First, the woman's body must release two eggs during the same cycle. This is called polyovulation. This isn't that rare on its own, as it is how many non-identical twins are born. But here is the catch. 4. Those two eggs to have different fathers, the woman must have physical contact with two different men within a very short window of time. Biology tells us that an egg only lives for about 24 hours after it is released. If it isn't fertilized in that window, it dies. However, sperm cells can live inside a woman's body for several days. As we continue this incredible journey, it is important to look at the actual machinery that allowed these scientists to uncover such a secret. The scientists started by taking DNA samples. Once they have the DNA, they use specific chemicals to strip away everything else until they are left with pure genetic material. But DNA is microscopic. To actually see it and compare it, they have to make copies of it. They use a technique that acts like a biological photocopier, making millions of copies of those specific 15 to 22 markers. To make these markers visible, they mix the DNA with fluorescent dyes. These dyes act like tiny glowing beacons when the DNA is processed. Through a machine in a procedure called electrophoresis, the machine reads these glowing markers and converts them into a digital map. This map isn't a picture of a face. It is a series of numbers and peaks on a graph. For most of us, these numbers would look like a confusing code, but for a geneticist, it is a clear signature. In the case of the Colombian twins, the scientists saw the mother's signature, the father's signature, and the signatures of the two boys. When they looked at the first boy, the peaks on the graph lined up perfectly with the father. But when they looked at the second boy, the peaks were in entirely different locations. It was a moment of absolute scientific clarity that proved a physical impossibility had become a reality. If you find this fascinating, make sure you are subscribed to Timeless Life Lessons. We explore the mysteries of the world to find the wisdom hidden within them. Now, you might be wondering, if this is possible, why don't we hear about it every day? Why isn't every set of fraternal twins a candidate for two different fathers? The answer lies in the incredible precision of the female reproductive system. Most of the time, even if a woman releases two eggs, they are released almost at the exact same moment. 4. Two different fathers to be involved. The timing of the intimate acts must happen within that very narrow 24-hour window where the eggs are viable. But there is another layer. One of the researchers, Andrea Casas, pointed out that sometimes eggs aren't released at the exact same time. A woman's body might release one egg, and then, due to a hormonal quirk, release another 1, 2, or 3 days later. This stretches the window of opportunity. It means the biological clock for conception isn't just a single tick-tock, but a series of chances. Even so, the survival of the sperm is the other half of the equation. Sperm cells are remarkably resilient, capable of waiting in the fallopian tubes for up to 5 days. The journey of understanding these impossible twins takes us deeper into the very definition of what it means to be a sibling. Most of us are familiar with identical twins who share 100% of their DNA because they come from a single egg and a single sperm. In the case of identical twins, it is biologically impossible for them to have different fathers. But fraternal twins are essentially just siblings who happen to share a womb at the same time. They are born from 2 different eggs and 2 different sperm cells. When those two sperm cells come from different men, we have heteropaternal superfecundation. One of the most fascinating things the researchers pointed out is that the race for life isn't just one sprint. It's two separate races happening in the same stadium. This brings us to a powerful life lesson. Before the 1970s and 80s, when DNA testing started to become a tool for the public, these stories were just legends or rumors. Now, technology is bringing the truth to the surface. Imagine the emotional weight of being that father in 2018. He went to the university likely expecting a simple confirmation. Instead, he was handed a biological riddle. This creates a massive shift in how we view family. Is a father the person who provides the DNA, or is it the person who stays, raises the children, and loves them regardless of what a lab test says? These are the questions that Timeless Life Lessons seeks to answer. We look at the cold, hard facts of science and try to find the warm, human heart within them. This Colombian mother and father had to face a reality that was once thought to be a myth. And yet, the children are still brothers. Their bond is a physical reality, even if their genetic history is split down the middle. As we look toward the future, these cases will start popping up more frequently as DNA testing becomes common. We are entering an era where our genetic secrets are harder to hide. The story of these twins reminds us that nature doesn't always play by the rules. It shows us that even in a world where we think we have everything figured out, there is still room for the rare and the extraordinary. Perhaps the biggest lesson here isn't about DNA, but about the bonds we build. Family is defined by more than just matching markers on a graph. It is defined by the love and the care we give to one another. Thank you for joining us on Timeless Life Lessons. If you enjoyed this, please hit that subscribe button. Until next time, stay curious, stay open, and keep looking for the wisdom in the world around you.